Hello and welcome to my new channel. This will be dedicated to battle reports and general ranting about Warmachine Hordes. This channel was inspired by a friend of mine, Dave, who recently I read his blog, which was also battle reports, things like that, and it's pretty fun to read. Like a few of the games we had, we went to a tournament a month ago. Now if you don't know what Warmachine Hordes are, it's basically tabletop miniatures games, small skirmish based games, really tactical, really fun, probably best summed up by the tagline on the 5th page. It's very famous amongst the actual players of Warmachine Hordes. Play like you got a pair, and I think that sums up quite well the attitude of the game. You come in, you fucking smash your opponent, or you get taken from behind. To be honest, that's the general gist of the game. Really, it's still a friendly game. Don't get me wrong, but you don't go in half cocked. You go in guns blazing. You come in with big fucking robots and monsters, and you just have a big mashup. Basically, there's a lot of crazy shenanigans you can do, but me personally, my playstyle tends to be big, tough. I'm not really going to interfere too much with what you're doing, but I'm going to make myself really fucking hard to kill. My first faction was Trollbloods, and I still play them. They're absolutely awesome. More recently, I've wanted to try out the other side, Warmachine. I was looking through, didn't really like any of the main factions, but I had a gander over to the Mercenaries book, and I decided to go for pirates because they've got a load of character to them, and it's just pirates. You know, why would you not? Really, let's be honest, they're just awesome in every way, and I've had a lot of fun playing with them. Again, I don't regret the choice. Yeah, basically, today I had a couple of games with the channel's namesake, Broadside Bart. He's a badass pirate. He just does not fuck about. He brings a lot of firepower, a lot of pain, a lot of big robots. My first game was against Dave. He was using Karchev. Now, he's a big Cadorian mentalist who has basically put himself into a warjack, and he's a dick. Now, he's not that bad. He's just, again, all about the jacks, not much fucking about. He just comes guns blazing, and he'll just pile drive you with a bunch of jacks. Today Dave was playing with, he had a couple, I can't remember what they're called, Juggernauts, I believe. He also had a Spriggan. Oh no, I think it was 3 Juggernauts actually. Yeah, I think it was 3. On the pirate team, we had Bart, we had a Mariner, a Mule, and 2 Rovers. That is the new mercenary heavy warjack out in Wrath, and they are amazing. They synergize very well with Bart. Now, the game was pretty simple. We set up some jacks. We had a big mashup in the middle. I had a wall of my Merc jacks. He basically made a big brick of Cadorian jacks, and we both just ran at each other. Unfortunately, I don't like to do it, but I was pretty much forced to feat in my first turn. Now, Bart's feat is basically if you advancing models which end their movement in Montador's control area are knocked down, and while in his control area they suffer -3 to attack roll, so it's a pretty good defensive feat. It did what it was supposed to. It stopped him from charging, didn't really do anything, but again, my counter attack was pretty poor. He managed to avoid being knocked down through one of Karchev's spells, which means that if he's in base to base with another member of their battle group, they gain extra defense and they can't be knocked down. So he did a kind of conga liney type thing, and doing all this shifting about, and basically made them all end up in base to base, therefore kind of negating my feat, but at the same time it meant they couldn't charge, so it wasn't a total waste. My turn was basically opening fire. I made a really big mistake on turn 2, where Aiyanna cast a spell for +2 damage on the middle jack in this brick of jacks. Unbeknownst to me at the time, you get +1 defense from this spell of Karchev's for every model you're in base to base with in your battle group. So this Cadorian jack, which started on def 10, ended up being defense 16 due to all these jacks being in base contact with him, and he was in a cloud from the casting crazy Kado dudes. I can't remember what they were called. Focused a bit of fire into him, obviously missed a lot. Blast damage was going to do nothing to armor 20, and then Dave's turn 3 was basically game over, because it transpired, as usual, my positioning of my caster wasn't very good. I thought he was pretty safe, tucked behind a mule, both of my batten down the hatches on, and but I'd left him just a smidge out to the side so he could draw line of sight with the Spriggan. After having been towed by Karchev, the Spriggan proceeded to take advantage of this mishap and pulverise Bart by bulldozing the mule out of the way, being in range with his nice big lance with reach, and under Karchev's feet quite happily demolished Bart in a couple of attacks. It might have even been one-shotted, to be honest. It was still a fun game, even though it was short. The second game was against Phil. He's pretty new to the game. He's played with his Scorn about 3 times, but as he was playing a vastly superior faction and caster to myself, I was pretty nervous. And I'm not just saying that to bitch. Scorn really do have some awesome stuff. I'll bitch about them all day long. I'm morally opposed to some of the stats in Scorn and some of the point costs of their heavy beasts that have armor 19 more than a jack and fucking hyper aggression and chain attack, grab and smash, and alright, yeah, that's their alpha and their FA2, blah blah blah. It costs like really, I think it's 10 points, and they get an armor 19 heavy with grab and smash, PNS 17 fists. I just like look at that, and then I look at the Diatrol stats and I weep, and it's so annoying.
Thou shalt not whine.
It gets on my nerves, that's all. So yeah, basically Phil was playing his Scorn, but he was packing 3 heavy beasts to match my, this time 3 jacks. I swapped out a few things. I borrowed some Nyss Hunters and Epic Eiryss. I'm really tempted to invest in some Nyss Hunters just because they can literally do exactly what I need. They can run off to the side, do their own thing. In this game in particular, I set up pretty much the same as previously, big brick of jacks, solos dotted about helping people, and the Nyss Hunters went off to one side and they just bombed it down the flank. And they were completely untouched throughout the whole game. They just spent all the time running around the side and picking off the Paingivers. Incidentally, Phil hadn't heard about Paingivers before, really. He hadn't read his cards much. Like I say, he's quite new to the game. He's had about 3 games. And when he read the card, his face was quite priceless, and his reaction was what you would expect, really, from a new Scorn player looking at how ridiculous Paingivers are. No, stop it. I'm not bitching, I'm saying they're good. I'm saying they're very good. If it was up to me, they would cost a point more for what they can do, but we'll let them off. They're just cool. Okay. Now, so Phil, he set up with his big 3 heavy jacks. He had some heavy infantry as well, and some Paingivers. I was expecting him to kind of like surge forward and just do a big run, but he kind of like crept up the board a bit. I think he was trying to keep in step with his heavy infantry, which had shield wall, which kind of makes sense. He didn't want to just sort of leave them behind, but yeah, I was expecting him to be much more up in my face. I managed to get the first turn as well, so I was all like nice and set up for some broadsides basically. In turn 2, I popped my feet and had a pretty awesome turn, really. I mean, it did the same as last time. It stopped him from charging, and I had a pretty good broadside turn. I shot the heavy infantry with the Mule, which I managed to get a crit devastation as well. That was pretty awesome for breaking the shield wall dudes. So he decided that, I mean, it wasn't completely wrong, but he decided to hang back with one of the Gladiators, I think they're called, and protect the Paingivers with the Gladiator from the Nyss Hunters, I mean. So he'd try and sort of block line of sight to them, and he hung back with it. But what that basically did was it meant that his Gladiator was out of the game for most of the game. So yeah, basically I managed to kill his Bronzeback. And, one of the Rovers with 3 focus charged in there, basically took him out in a turn. Yeah, the Cannoneer that he had Bronzeback, a Cannoneer and the Gladiator. He wasn't happy about that, so he had a good old charge into my other Rover and did a fair bit of damage to it. He just was not happy. The Nyss Hunters continued in my turn to go around the back. At one point they were just playing round the back of their army and picking off the Paingivers one by one. It's just hard to get at them with anything, but normally it's not too bad. I've got like blast damage and stuff, but if I can have a bunch of crazy elves just going around the side and picking them off with bows and arrows, that's just brilliant, and I highly recommend them. It grinded on, we just like trading blows, we killed each other, he slagged my Jack, I slagged the beast, it was just all over the place. The last turn was ridiculously tense. I had just a Mule, I had a Rover with 2 health left, Dougle was still running about on 1 health, charging the caster to finish off the Rover who was engaging the Gladiator, and the Gladiator was then free to basically get in and lay down some mean beats to Bart. He took a big hit initially from the Gladiator, which got me really worried, but after that all of his attacks missed. That left Bart with, I think he had about 3 hits left. But he was alive, that was the main thing, and luckily I managed to win on scenario. Just based on where all the models were, I could just finish off the Gladiator who was damaged with Bart, stabbed up this already damaged, as you can imagine he'd been having a scrap with the Rover Gladiator, and finished him off, leaving me to score the 2nd control point, which won me the game. Normally you need 3 control points to win. I thought you needed 3, but Dave happily reminded me that you only need 2 to win the game, and I was trying to think of some kind of convoluted crazy way to shenanigan my way around and kill his Warlock, but it turns out it was simple as kill this half-dead beast and win.
So come take a drink and drown your sorrows, and all of our fears will be gone till tomorrow.